Let's take a look at your MT6, LT6 affirmation. On the first question, part A is correct, and part B is mostly correct. I think if we look at the second part of part B, if the time spent on the long distance calls is less than 140, which plan costs less? So if we look at 140 right here, if we go to the left of that, which one would be less than? Well, that would be the blue line, which is plan A. If we take a look at the second problem here, you had this mostly correct when you did this on the quiz. We know we got a couple things going on here. First off, what does X stand for? Well, X is the amount in the City Youth Fund. And Y is the Educational Growth Fund. Since we're going to put money in both accounts, we know X has to be greater than or equal to 0. Y has to be greater than or equal to 0. He's going to donate $500 to charity. That is, you had that part right. X plus Y is less than or equal to 500. So I'm going to make a graph right here. You had the nice graph on yours. And so here's 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. And I'll do the same thing for the Educational Growth Fund. There's 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. I'm going to use my X and Y intercepts. My X intercept is 500, my Y intercept is 500. So what we'll do is we'll graph that line. And since I know X is greater than 0 and Y is greater than 0, I know the part that I'm going to shade here is going to be less than 500. So it's going to be in this region right here. Coloring in the lines. That's all I'm doing here. To make this a little bit thicker so I can go quicker. There we go. Now, here is the part where I think you made a mistake, but you didn't show your work. It says, Ruben would like the amount donated to the Educational Growth Fund, that is the Y, to be at least 4 times the amount of the City Youth Fund. In other words, we want Y to be greater than or equal to 4X. Not 40, but 4X. Well, because my scale is so big, I'm going to rewrite 4. I'm going to multiply by 100. So 4 is 400 over 100. So I know my y-intercept is 0. I'm going to change colors here. So I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go up 400 and over 100. And there is that graph. And I want that to be greater than, so I'm going to shade the part that is greater than on this one. So it's going to be this region right here is what you should have shaded in. And on the computer, you can't do what we've done is like with different colors. But here's what you can do. You can select this region. You can select this region, then go back and erase this region right here. Because if I would do that, that's what it's going to look like on your computer. And that's the only part you got wrong. So you weren't that far off. The redo should be open for you. Redo these 2 questions. Why don't you upload a picture of your work of the equations? You can't upload the graph because you're going to just put that in. But upload a picture of your inequalities that you write on here so I can see what you're doing.